is what we've been tracking recently. We're going to try to work to get the basic usage clearance here to show you this, but definitely potentially, it's on Twitter, a large tornado on the ground 2 miles southeast of Carthage. Basically, you know, you've been talking about almost a classic signature of what we look, you know, of what would indicate a potentially tornado on the ground, and that appears to look very likely at this moment.
Yeah, and again, with the velocity here, we're seeing that here around FM 2517. Let's throw up the debris tracker. Andrew, and I think we'll see likely debris coincident with that. Kind of seeing it here where you start getting into these blue colors. That, again, matching up with the velocity. We don't just look at one radar product. We take them in tandem and see if they match up. And if they do, then that gives us higher confidence as to what is going on. So these are matching up. And if we go back to the reflectivity, that's also matching up. So we have basically 3 different radar products lining up in the same place, giving us a good bit of certainty that this is a tornado on the ground. When you see something like this on the rain depiction, this is not rain. So let me point that out. This is what is known when we're looking at this particular radar view, which is what we normally show you, just plain old storms and rainfall when we show those to you. This is not rainfall. This is what we call a debris ball. This is the way it looks on radar, and that is pretty much an indication that you have a tornado on the ground, and we're seeing some of the other radar products backing that up as well. A classic shape here for this type of thunderstorm, if you've maybe heard the term hook echo before, well, we've got that where basically the circulation of the storm wraps the rain, wraps the hail around the circulation, and then you get sometimes this little ball, basically is what it looks like, on the very edge of that hook, and again, that is an indication of a tornado on the ground. So this storm has done damage. We've gotten spotters that have visually confirmed tornadoes. Again, we're working on getting a picture from southeast of Carthage of a large tornado on the ground. So that is what we have here. If you are in the vicinity of FM 2517 and FM 31 south, this is tracking your direction. You've got to be headed to your tornado shelter. Again, we've already had reports that this tornado has touched down. It has done damage. Still seeing a strong signature rotation here. Andrew's going to draw in the arrows just to give you an idea of what all these colors mean. The reds are blowing away from the radar, which is back over my shoulder in Shreveport, and the greens and the blues are blowing towards, so you get this sense of counterclockwise circulation. This is the way these tornadoes of this type rotate in that particular, basically counterclockwise, like on a clock. That's the way that they rotate. And again, this is tracking its way to the north and to the east in the vicinity of FM 2017 and FM 31 south. Andrew, let's back out the view. I want to track this into Caddo Parish. There's not a whole lot of communities here in this part of Panola County. It's rural, but there are people that live out here. Again, this is a classic looking, what we call a supercell thunderstorm by the way it looks on radar. This is heading across eastern Panola County. Again, the most dangerous part of the storm has passed you in Carthage. So if you've been in your shelter, you can move out of your shelter right now. But again, this is going to be tracking probably just northwest of Keachai. Near Preston, you see Stonewall. If you're in the Stonewall area, you are the next major community that is in line for this storm to come on through. And again, all indications that there is a tornado here on the ground right now doing damage, tearing up trees, and anything else it's coming into contact with. So anywhere from, we'll say Keachai to Stonewall. Again, this storm right now is moving northeast, but again, it's possible it could turn a little bit to the east, and we've already kind of seen that at times. So if you are anywhere here, I would say from Keachai in the northwest corner of DeSoto Parish up towards Stonewall, you do need to be seeking shelter for, again, a tornado which appears to be on the ground and doing damage now east of Carthage into eastern parts of Panola County in Texas. This is the state line right here. This is going to be working its way, again, across the state line on into northwest Louisiana. It does include parts of Caddo Parish. It does not include the Shreveport area, but it's going to be a close call, especially if it continues on this northwest track towards Stonewall. May come in here on the far southern edge of the city of Shreveport and perhaps eventually over into Bossier as well if this storm does continue to maintain the structure that we have been seeing on it right now. Got Grant with me, meteorologist Grant Roberts right now driving radar. Grant, I do want to take a look at the other storm that we have a tornado warning on, which is up into parts of Marion as well as Harrison County. This is it right here, east of Jefferson. Still need to be in your shelter if you're on the west side of Caddo Lake from Karnak to Uncertain, Texas. Grant, let's go in and take a look at the wind velocity here. The storm is starting to look a little bit better organized, it appears, just from this particular perspective. And if we can zoom in a little tighter here, and still seeing, again, it's not the same sort of circulation that the storm in Panola County has. But still, we're seeing it here in the vicinity of Texas Highway 43. This is bearing down on you in Uncertain, Texas. So again, you need to be headed to your tornado shelter. Here's Texas Highway 43, Farm to Market Road 134. Again, this is not as significant of a circulation, but circulation nonetheless. The atmosphere is primed for these storms to rotate and perhaps produce tornadoes. So we're going to have to continue to watch this one as well. I don't necessarily think we have a tornado on the ground with this one based on the way the radar signature looks. However, this circulation could quickly tighten back up and perhaps produce a tornado. So again, from Uncertain, Texas, you need to be in your shelter. This particular storm, the tornado warning associated with it does not include Caddo Parish, but just an early first alert for you folks from Oil City down towards basically in and around Oil City there. On that side of Caddo Lake. You need to be seeking shelter for, again, the possibility that this may produce a tornado as well. We're just not getting indications at this point that there is anything on the ground. Grant, let's get back into the other storm because we continue to get strong wording from the National Weather Service. Considerable tornado damage threat. They're saying a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located east of Carthage, moving northeast at 30. So again, if you are in this vicinity of FM 31 South and FM 2517 in Panola County, you got to be in your shelter. And if you are here in the southwest part of Caddo Parish and the extreme northwest corner of DeSoto Parish, you got to be headed to your shelter as well. All indications are this is a tornado that is still on the ground doing damage here. It is going to be crossing from Panola County, Texas, across the state line into northwest Louisiana, probably clipping the extreme northwest corner of DeSoto Parish and then heading into southwest Caddo Parish, anywhere from Keachai to Stonewall. I want you to be going to your tornado safe place right now. That's going to be the lowest level of the building that you're in, and putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible as we continue to see strong indications of a tornado here. Grant's tracking things out for me. Stonewall, it'll be there in about 30 minutes. Based on the current motion, which is around 30-35 miles per hour. So you do have lots of time here to get to your safe place. Preston by 8:24 and a similar time of arrival around Keachai. And again, if you are as far south as Keachai, I want you to go ahead and seek shelter as well to be on the safe side, as the storm could shift its movement just enough to bring it closer to you in Keachai. If you're in Longstreet down towards Grand Cane, this storm is going to pass to your north. But again, basically we're Panola County in Texas, Caddo Parish and DeSoto Parish all come together here on the state line. This is where this tornado is going to be tracking next. And again, we have reports that this tornado has done some damage. It's been seen by spotters and we'll likely get more information as this continues to come on in. Grant, I do want to reset the view as we come up here towards the 8 o'clock hour. Just to show folks what is going on. Let's put it back on reflectivity mode, and you can see all the storms that we have out there. The ones that are the most intense are the ones that are producing the most lightning. One of those here in the parts of southwest Arkansas. We've got another intense storm. This is the one that's tornado warned across parts of Jefferson and Marion County, excuse me, there in East Texas. And our most concerning storm is the one here heading out of Panola County and moving into parts of DeSoto and Caddo Parish here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. You can see the radar updating right now. I do believe this storm up into southwest Arkansas, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued on it. That goes until 8:45. Tornado possible may develop with this. Nothing imminent right now, but this likely bringing in some strong wind gusts and some large hail across parts of northern Lafayette County, and eventually it's going to be moving in across parts of Columbia County near and north of Magnolia. But just want to let you know we're watching this one as well for perhaps any circulation that may begin to develop. In fact, Grant, let's just take a quick look at this, flip it over to velocity mode, and take a closer look at this storm and see if there's anything of any concern. Right now, not seeing anything. We likely have some strong gusty wind coming in with it, close to stamps, but not seeing any rotating wind right now that's of any concern. But we'll continue to keep an eye on it for you. Grant putting up some of the velocity numbers here. Potentially, we're probably talking about some wind gusts that may be 40 to 50 miles per hour as this storm continues to come on in. Grant, let's just kind of go along the line here. Take you back into parts of Marion as well as Harrison County. Still seeing what we would say broad circulation. It's not narrowed down to an extremely localized spot, but still seeing broad circulation showing up in the vicinity of Uncertain there in East Texas on that western edge of Caddo Lake. Grant's drawing in, again, that rotation that we're seeing here. And no indication as of yet if they're going to extend a tornado warning into Caddo Parish with this storm. But if they were, Oil City, just a first alert, it would be heading in your direction. So again, here from Uncertain, and I would just go ahead if you're in Oil City, just in case we get a new warning on this into Caddo Parish. If you're in Oil City, go ahead and head to your tornado safe place just to be on the safe side. Again, as we track this out a little bit longer to Oil City by 8:13. The Belcher area by 8:27, and into Hughes, which is in between Plain Dealing and Benton in Bossier Parish, coming in around 8:40. Again, I don't believe we have an extension of that tornado warning with this storm. It's possible that may come, and of course we'll give you the first alert if that does come out. Grant, in the meantime, let's go back down to our storm there in Panola County, which is getting very close to the state line. Still seeing strong indications of rotation showing up here. It's now past I believe that was FM 31 South here in this part of Panola County. You can see where the circulation is now east of there and a little north of FM 2517, tracking its way off to the northeast. An update on that storm, in fact, here. Tornado damage threat. Again, this has been a confirmed large and dangerous tornado. Located just near DeBerry, moving off to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. Again, this is in the vicinity now, it appears, at DeBerry, Texas, in this part of Panola County. It's going to be coming in here to southwestern parts of Caddo Parish, northwestern DeSoto Parish, and we're Panola County, where they all come to meet here right on the state line. Grant, let's go back to the debris tracker. Just want to see what we're seeing here with that again. Let's see if we're getting indications of any debris being lofted with this storm. Not seeing anything that really jumps out at this point. Maybe a little bit here in the eastern part of Panola County. Grant, let's go back to the reflectivity. I want to see what that looks like as well. And we're not seeing what we were seeing earlier. We were a few minutes back talking about a debris ball. We're not seeing that. So we had that. And that was definitely a tornado on the ground based on the presentation on radar. You can see here in the last few scans that's kind of gone away. So hopefully that is a sign that maybe the circulation is not quite as intense. But again, this storm has a history of kind of cycling, producing a tornado, and then the circulation weakens, and it appears the tornado maybe lifts, and then another tornado is produced. So we're not ruling out that that won't happen again with this storm, because if we expand the view a little bit, Grant, again, I want to show you there's nothing close to this storm. It is all by itself. We've not had a lot of rainfall in this part of the Arklatex, so there's still a lot of energy in the atmosphere that hasn't been used up for this storm to continue to perhaps produce another tornado as it moves into northwest Louisiana. Let's go over to meteorologist Andrew Brightman. Andrew.
Yeah, so Jeff, we were trying to work on getting permission to use this image, but one of our producers, Charity, just told us we do have an image of one of the tornado that we've been talking about so much, potentially, that was on the ground. Is there any chance we can bring up that? Yeah, so we're going to bring up that image for you and just really shows you basically what we've been watching. So this is image that was posted on social media. You can see kind of what we call almost like a stovepipe tornado on the ground, large looking tornado. You know, we talk about a wedge tornado, sometimes a spaghetti tornado. This is what we almost have a stovepipe type of shape. And this has been for this particular storm that we've been watching so much over the past while here as we continue to keep a close eye on as it continues to move again off to the east northeast. We're going to try to potentially zoom in on this particular storm as it continues to again to move off to the east northeast towards the Shreveport Bossier City, or south of Shreveport Bossier City, right along the border between Caddo and DeSoto Parish. But that just shows you again, it was a dangerous tornado, and that was just to the south and east, a couple of miles south and east of Carthage, Texas. So dangerous tornado on the ground. We've been talking about this so much over the past hour or so. Right now, that's been consistently the most impressive rotation we've been watching so closely, Jeff. So again, an impressive, very dangerous tornado that was on the ground moving through Panola County and getting ready to move into right along the parish line between DeSoto and Caddo Parish.
Got you over there. It looks like they did issue a new warning for that storm coming out of Jefferson, near Jefferson, Texas. So new tornado warning is now out for parts of Caddo as well as Bossier parishes. This warning goes until 8:45. It does include you folks again in the Oil City area, as I mentioned earlier, also over toward Belcher, and then likely passing from near Benton up toward the plain dealing area. Again, this storm, there's not been any reports of a tornado with it, but well-defined circulation continues to show up with that storm as it is moving its way, again, out now of East Texas and on into Caddo and eventually Bossier Parish. So again, basically around Caddo Lake, anywhere around Caddo Lake, you need to be seeking shelter for, again, a possible tornado there, particularly around Oil City, over toward Belcher, Louisiana, in northern parts of Caddo Parish. Here's where we're seeing, again, there's nothing that's really jumping out here as far as a significant circulation. In fact, I might take a closer look in here with what we have going on. This will give us a little different perspective. And we're seeing the wind blowing toward the radar in the green and away here in the red. Grant's going to circle it, but there's no real area that I'm really keying in on. This is just fairly broad circulation. It appears to be showing up here right close to the state line. So still want you to take this seriously for a possible tornado, but again, there's nothing that's particularly jumping out right now suggesting that this is perhaps imminent in producing a tornado, but still want you to head to your shelter now east of Uncertain, very close to Karnak, Texas, over toward the Oil City area. You can see the latest scan update here, and again, not quite as precise of a circulation, unlike the southernmost storm that we have here in the Arklatex. But Grant, let's just kind of track out this general area. The tornado warning was a fairly wide swath. So that's what we're going to track out here. So really anywhere from Mooringsport to Oil City, up to Stacy Landing, toward Belcher, and again over into parts of Bossier Parish. We're talking from near Benton and especially just north of Benton and up towards Plain Dealing. Possibility that we will get maybe a tornado that develops here. I don't think there's anything imminent. I think there's also probably some strong wind gusts that are coming with this storm as well as it's moving its way now into Caddo Parish.
Once again, a quick recap because we did get an incredible image recently of that tornado that we've been talking about so much. This was the wind velocity back at 743. Very, very tight circulation just to the south and east of Carthage. I'm going to ask our producers at the control room to pull back up that image that we got on social media. This is really the only confirmed image we've gotten so far of this tornado that we've been watching so closely now for the better part of an hour. If we can pull that image back up once again. just a very dangerous tornado that was on the ground just to the south and east of Carthage. And again, circulation might be weakening a little bit right now, but something that our chief meteorologist, Jeff Castle, has been talking so much about is that these systems can potentially cycle as we go through the next hour or so. So this was back at 7:43, and just a really was a really impressive circulation, dangerous situation moving through parts of Panola County. So this is what the cell that we keep watching as it moves into Caddo Parish, Jeff.
All right, yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. And latest update from the National Weather Service with this particular storm, again, moving its way into Caddo Parish. Let's go down to the southern storm, Grant. I want to take a look at it. They were also noting what we were just noting a few moments ago, that perhaps the circulation had been weakening with this particular storm, so some good news, at least for the time being. Again, we're seeing that circulation in the extreme southwest corner of Caddo Parish, extreme northwest corner of DeSoto Parish. It is not as well defined, so I think at this point the odds that this has a tornado on the ground are very, very low. It does not mean, though, that this storm will not produce another tornado, because it has a history of that. It has a history of the circulation being very strong and then weakening a bit and then getting strong again. We've seen that happen several times here since we've been on the air, so don't want you to let your guard down yet, but some positive news, at least here in the short term, that this circulation is not as powerful as it was just a short time ago when that picture was snapped that we showed you just outside of Carthage, Texas. But Grant, let's go ahead and track this again, give folks an updated timeline here, probably in this area just west of Keachai. So let's track this to near Keachai and up toward the Stonewall area, again, for the possibility that this storm may produce perhaps another tornado in its life cycle. And it looks like they have issued another tornado warning for this storm until 9. So the warning now goes until 9 on this storm. It was until 8:45. They've issued an additional warning because the old warning only took in this small part of Caddo Parish. So they have extended the warning now, so new tornado warning out for this storm. Again, the circulation is not as well defined or strong as it was, but that doesn't mean that this storm won't be capable of perhaps producing another tornado. So again, Stonewall, we've been talking about you. Again, down to Keachai, need to be in your shelter. South side of Shreveport, we're talking probably about as far north as the inner loop, 3132, southern loop area. Need to be headed to your shelter for, again, the possibility that this storm could generate another tornado. It doesn't appear that it is producing one right now, but that could quickly change. Again, okay, let's go to that. We got a live picture up, I believe, Harrison County, showing some of the storm activity there in east.
It's Caddo Parish.
All that lightning off in the distance. Again, this is from Harrison County looking towards the storm. They are right along the state line moving into, I assume, Caddo Parish. This is a storm that we're looking at right now. So looking off to the north from this vantage point in Harrison County. And again, quite a bit of lightning showing up with that storm. That one also has a potential tornado associated with it. Let's go on over to Andrew now for an update on hail.
Update on the hail that's been moving through the system. Also give our chief meteorologist a quick second to catch his breath. We've been talking a lot here over the past hour about now. We've had 2 storms that we've been watching very closely. One, obviously, we've gotten the confirmed tornado on the ground. It looked like a large and very damaging and dangerous tornado. But on top of that, we've been watching the hail size, still over an inch, at least radar indicated 1.1 inches in diameter, so a little bit bigger than a quarter in size. Potentially, though, this could be indicating maybe perhaps a little bit of weakening with the system, because 2 things here. First off, we've got the hail size that has gone down, at least in terms, because we were seeing at one point almost 2 inches in diameter right when it was at its peak, moving through parts of Panola County. And then on top of that, still seeing some circulation here that our chief meteorologist, Jeff Castle, has been talking about, but just, again, not as impressive, still a dangerous and situation that we're watching very. Okay.
To me here at the key wall, and I'll have Grant pull up that storm that we have here into Caddo Parish. And in the vicinity of Keachai. And Grant, this isn't the best perspective, but you see the circulation here close to Keachai. Let's go back to the reflectivity, and I want to show you what I'm seeing there on reflectivity right now, right here west of Keachai. That could be another one of those debris balls beginning to form here west of Keachai. So it does look like maybe this storm is cycling again. It could be that the wind velocity product was a little bit behind the reflectivity as we saw earlier, so they may not be quite in step with each other, but what we're seeing right here is an indication that perhaps another tornado coming down right now west of Keachai. So if you're in Keachai up to Stonewall, you need to be headed to your tornado safe place right now. We're talking about lowest level of the building that you're in, many walls between you and the outside as possible. When we talk about that, we mean an interior closet, interior hallway, interior bathroom, as this is starting to come into a little bit more of a populated area here in northern DeSoto Parish and right here into southern parts of Caddo Parish. Again, it appears that we may have another tornado forming with this storm, and like I've been talking about, that's what this storm has done. It has produced multiple tornadoes, it appears. I don't think when the Weather Service goes out and they do their storm survey that they're going to find a continuous path. I think they're going to find that this kind of skipped around as it did some damage here back into Panola County, and that appears to be another tornado that is forming here west of Keachai. You can see where it is coming into Keachai here in the next few minutes. Preston by 8:24, 8:31 around Stonewall, and Norton around 8:44. Grant, let's zoom in very tight here. I want to show you some of the streets and the highways that we're talking about. This is right on the Caddo-DeSoto Parish line, LA 764 there, and you can see some of the roads here in the path of this. We're talking about Round Table Road, Parish Road 622, that's DeSoto Parish Road 622, Keachai Road, Keachai Spur Road. Again, this is heading into the Keachai area, so you need to be in your shelter there. And basically anywhere here along the Caddo DeSoto Parish line, you need to be in your safe place. Keithville, Keachai Road. Also you folks in Keithville, Stonewall area, need to be in your shelter. Preston Road, you see that here, Keithville, Keachai Road, up here toward Lisa Lane and Rambin Road. Again, basically right here, this thicker white line, that is the Caddo Parish and DeSoto Parish border. So this tornado is going to be tracking right on this area in far southern Caddo Parish and into far northern parts of DeSoto Parish. So again, Keachai to Keithville to Stonewall, got to be headed to your shelter. Again, possibility that we have a tornado developing right here, right on the parish line, just a little west and northwest of Keachai. So from Keachai to Keithville to Stonewall, you need to be headed to your tornado shelter as it appears that this storm may be about to produce or maybe even producing another tornado. Let's go on over to meteorologist Jessica Moore. Jessica.
This is south of Carthage, Texas, around 7:45. An image of what appears to be a tornado. Again, that's around south of Carthage, Texas, around 7:45. And just some of the damage reports that I've seen so far are just homes that have completely been completely destroyed here in parts of Mount Enterprise over in Texas. And again, this is in Carthage. Haven't seen any damage reports out of there just yet, but something that I am keeping an eye on. Just want to give you the update of the latest that we have seen in burst. Or in our KSLA First Alert Weather app. Again, if you can safely take pictures of what's going on, you could do so and send those into the KSLA First Alert Weather app. That does help us tell the weather story. But if we get any more images in, we'll be sure to let you guys know and keep you guys updated with that. Jeff?
All right, thank you very much, Jessica. Again, concerned here that this storm may be producing another tornado right here along the Caddo-DeSoto Parish line. This storm has a history of producing tornadoes. Again, that picture Jessica just showed you, and do want to emphasize what she told you. Only take pictures if you can do it safely. But if you can, helps us tell the weather story. So these pictures are letting us know what this storm has done. And being that the storm is not really letting up in intensity, gives us an idea of what this storm may continue to do as it is coming on through. And again, concerns are that it may be in the process of producing another tornado here just off to the northwest of Keachai. So again, this part of southern Caddo Parish, northern parts of DeSoto Parish from Keachai to Stonewall, includes you folks around Keithville. You need to be seeking shelter for, again, the possibility that this storm may be in the process of producing another tornado as it is moving into this part of northwest Louisiana. There's the latest update, the latest scan that's come on in. So let's show you where this has moved, Grant. Let's zoom on in a little closer. Passing now north of Keachai along DeSoto Parish Road 647, Keithville Keachai Road, Pine Ridge Road. This is where we're seeing this circulation and possible tornadoes showing up. Preston Road, again up towards Lisa Lane, Rosemary Lane, Douglas Drive, and Memory Lane. Here's Highway 171 coming out of the Stonewall area. So this is where this part of the storm is going to be moving on through. In addition, this storm also may produce some strong wind and some large hail, but we're most concerned about this part of the thunderstorm moving right here along the Caddo-DeSoto Parish line, and the possibility that it may produce another tornado crossing very close to Stonewall here along U.S. Highway 171 in that northern part of DeSoto Parish. So you need to be headed to your tornado shelter there. And update from the Weather Service again, they're reiterating what we're saying. Next tornado trying to form, if it hasn't already, just north of Keachai, heading to the southern portion of Stonewall. Also, let's get up into the northern storm. I don't want to lose track because this is not the only tornado warning that we have. We do have a tornado warning here around Caddo Lake, Oil City area. And in particular, I want to take a closer look here north of Oil City and Vivian. There's the latest scan update. Possibility in this vicinity, about halfway between Vivian and Oil City. Again, we are seeing the circulation showing up here. Again, just to remind you what the radar is showing. The green is toward the radar, red is away. Got this small area just south of Vivian showing up with the circulation. So you still need to be in your safe place if you're in Oil City. Still need to be in your safe place if you're over toward Gillum, even Belcher, although right now, if this is where we're seeing that circulation perhaps what we call tightening up a little bit. I think we're maybe seeing that. We were seeing a broad circulation, but now it's perhaps tightening up just a little bit here in the vicinity of Vivian, passing just southeast of Vivian. So this is not going to move into Vivian proper, but a little southeast here along Louisiana 170, but anywhere over here toward Gillum, north of Belcher, now to Austin. I'd be going ahead and seeking shelter for a possible tornado here. If one does develop out of this, it will cross the Red River into Bossier Parish and likely track north of Benton, but may get close to you folks up towards Plain Dealing. Grant, let's just go ahead and kind of track this out here from near Vivian to Oil City, as it's going to be in this general area where something may form. Into Plain Dealing, we have to redo it. When we move the map, sometimes the storm track goes away. But here's what we are monitoring. Again, near Plain Dealing, 847, the Mott area, which was actually hit by a tornado a few years back here east of Plain Dealing, around 859. So again, possible tornado here showing up. All right, they're now saying, confirmed tornado. Confirmed tornado in Caddo Parish, Caddo and DeSoto Parish.
Signature just near Oil City as we continue to watch this continue to move off to the east-northeast. So small debris signature near Oil City, just a very dangerous situation you need to think about going to. Once again, your safe place right now, there's that tornado warning. It continues to track off to the east-northeast, going to be moving just to the south of Gillum here. I'm just going to put a quick little track on this storm as it continues to move off to the east-northeast near Plain Dealing. Gillum, 834, Hughes, 850, Plain Dealing, 854, Rocky Mount, 859, Mott around 906. Again, we've got the, Jeff just talked about confirmed tornado gain, the tornado debris signature. We're seeing this couplet right here near Oil City as it continues to move off to the east-northeast. So if you live in the northern parts of both Caddo and Bossier Parish, near Gillum, Plain Dealing, north of Benton, you need to be thinking about going to your safe place right now.
While you're over there, why don't you go ahead and pull up the debris signature? I'm looking at another source here, and we'll go back to you.
Trying to pull up the debris signature right now, actually, Jeff. I'm having a little bit of...
And I'll have Grant do it on the other computer. Grant, let's pull up the debris tracker here. And I think this is what's being picked up So it's possible that we may have a tornado trying to spin up here, but it's also possible just the way that this is kind of elongated out. And again, when we look at the debris tracker, the things in red are where things are of uniform size that the radar is seeing. And when you start getting this drop in the color, start getting into the blues, the grays, and the greens, that's where the radar is saying things are of different size. So the way this is kind of drawn out, and then Grant, if you go back to the velocity, let's show you what that looks like. It's also kind of drawn out, but still we're watching here pretty close to Vivian, where there could be something at least within this larger area trying to spin up. And Grant, if we go to the regular reflectivity, I also want to show you based on the way that this was shaped. If we go back to the single site radar, this is the composite multiple radars. I just want to go to the single one, and you can see also coincidence kind of drawn out here. I think this could be some strong wind in addition. But where this strong wind starts to come out here, again, southeast of Vivian, this is where we could see a tornado developing. But I think we also have some very strong wind that's come through the Oil City area. So a couple hazards here with this storm, possible tornado that may develop here southeast of Vivian. We're going to have to watch that very, very closely. But I think we also have some strong wind that is coming away from Oil City, and we'll be approaching Belcher, Gillum as well. Again, with the possibility here south of Vivian that we may have a tornado forming. So we have two major storms that we're watching right now. Let's go back to Andrew for a look at the other one.
So I was able to pull up the debris tracker, and this is about the second tornado warned storm right along the southern portion of Caddo Parish, northern parts of DeSoto Parish. So I just want everyone at home to be paying attention to this. Oh, just moved, of course, as I'm doing this off to the east-northeast, but right in here is where we're watching for a potential tornado. We did see a bit of a drop in the debris tracker. The velocity, though, still seeing that couplet moving across Louisiana Interstate 171 right now as it continues to move off to the east-northeast. And just want to try to zoom out real quick and then put a track on it as we continue to watch both of these very dangerous situations right now as these storms continue to move generally off to the east, northeast, and northeast at about 30 or so miles an hour. So relatively low populated area, going to be, though, probably approaching Interstate 49, I'd say over the next 10 to 15 minutes. So just a dangerous situation setting up for anyone that's on the highways, either traveling from parts of DeSoto Parish up near Shreveport or vice versa. So just want to stay weather aware, probably maybe want to stay away from parts of I-49 and northern parts of DeSoto Parish as we continue to watch this storm. And Jeff's been talking about it a lot. It's cycling. At one point, it really tightens up the circulation. Tornado touches down on the ground. Then the circulation broadens and it weakens. But we've been continuing to see, and it's been rather impressive how long this storm has been able to hold itself together now. We're talking about the better part of an hour and a half or even a little bit longer. We go all the way back before we even came into our live coverage. We've been watching the signature on radar, both with regular Doppler radar and with velocity of a potential tornado here. So this has been a very dangerous storm over the past, once again, better part of 2 hours now, just to the south of Stonewall, continuing to move off to the east-northeast. Just want to pull up the debris tracker once again, see if I can get a bit of a signature. Not seeing really well defined one right now, but if you go a little bit further back here, there was a little bit of a donut hole right in here. So these tornadoes can drop, go back up, but then tighten up very quickly as we've been watching this cycle over the past really hour and a half, almost 2 hours now, Jeff. We've been watching this supercell storm moving through eastern Texas, and now it's tracked into northwest Louisiana.
These supercell type thunderstorms, they can last for a long time. And some of the storms that went through Alabama on Thursday and caused all the damage there, some of those storms had actually a tornado continuous on the ground for 100 miles. I don't think we've had a continuous tornado on the ground with any of these storms, but periodically, particularly that southern storm, which is now in DeSoto Parish, has likely produced several tornadoes. Again, we're continuing to watch here into also northern parts of Caddo and on into Bossier Parish. If we do have a tornado that may drop, I think it's going to be a little west of Gillum, here along Louisiana 170 and I-49. that would be the area that we're watched. But I also believe we do have basically a wall of some strong wind that's also coming out. So we could see some wind gusts perhaps on the order of 50, 60 miles per hour or even higher, anywhere from Gillum down toward Belcher. But again, just west of Gillum, if we do see something develop tornado-wise, I think that's the most likely spot for it. Grant, let's go and take a look at the velocity again with these storms. And I know we do a lot of the same things over and over again, but we get a new updated scan from the radar continuously, and things can rapidly change. Again, this area just west of Gillum, nothing that's really jumping out that says we have anything imminent. This does not look like we have seen with the storm that moved through Panola County near Carthage and produced the tornado. We have pictures of that particular tornado, but nonetheless, you need to be seeking shelter here from Gillum down to Belcher for at least some very strong wind that may come on through. And if you're over here toward the Plain Dealing area, I think the worst of this is probably going to pass a little north of Benton, but along Benton Road or Louisiana Highway 3 here up to Plain Dealing, this is where the most intense part of this storm is going to come on through, with perhaps a possible tornado developing, but also I think the potential for some strong wind gusts. Let's take a look at hail. I know that's been another issue. Grant, if we can switch on over to the hail tracker, and we'll show you what we have here hail-wise. Nothing that's showing up major. It's kind of on the lower end of the scale here, small. So we may be talking about some dime, penny-sized hail with this storm, but we're not seeing big hail out of this particular storm. I believe it's more of a wind threat and perhaps a quick tornado spin-up threat with this particular storm into that part of Caddo Parish approaching Gillum, and we'll be crossing the Red River over into Bossier Parish between Benton and up toward the Plain Dealing area. All right, Grant, let's go back to the south. Again, our most concerning storm is the one that's been here now in DeSoto Parish, passing near Stonewall. You can see some hail associated with it. Let's flip things back over first here to the wind velocity, see where we're seeing that circulation in the vicinity of Stonewall. At times, it's increased a little bit. It appears to me at this point that maybe it is kind of broadening back out, not really keying on a real definitive location. But again, this storm has gone through multiple cycles where it has produced tornadoes. Grant, let's go back over to the reflectivity, and I want to see what that looks like, because that's also helped us tell the story. Again, we're still seeing circulation here. You can definitely see it. When we talk about these sort of storms, you may have heard the term hook echo before. There's a reason it's called that. These storms that have these strong rotation associated with them, they're rotating counterclockwise. They're taking the rain on the north side of the storm and they are wrapping it around in a counterclockwise manner. And it looks like a fish hook is basically where that name comes from. So we are seeing that. So we're seeing the hook echo. We're seeing the rotation in the wind velocity. And at times we're seeing perhaps some debris with this storm. I don't think that we have that at the moment. Some of the radar data not matching up, but this storm could quickly produce another tornado. So do want you to stay in your shelter here if you are in Stonewall. Good news is, it does look like this storm, at least the dangerous part of it, is going to stay south of Shreveport. But if you're in northern parts of DeSoto Parish, and Grant, let's just kind of track this out, maybe go back to the reflectivity just to get a better idea what to track. And we will show you here anywhere from near and south of Stonewall off to the northeast. This is going to be crossing Interstate 49 in this northern part of DeSoto Parish. Looks like next in line would be over here in Bossier Parish, or excuse me, this would actually be extreme southeastern Caddo Parish, Cecil, at 8:55. So northern parts of DeSoto Parish, you need to stay in your shelter. And again, heading in now to this extreme southeastern corner of Caddo Parish, you need to be in your shelter. You can see that the most dangerous part of this storm is going to stay probably just slightly south of the southern loop. You see the southern loop here, that's the exit there on 49. Again, if we do get a tornado, it could form in any part of this area from near Stonewall and off to the east. So tracking across 49, staying just south of the southern loop. This is going to work its way, though, into this extreme southeastern corner of Caddo Parish, just outside of the Shreveport area. And if the storm does continue to cross the Red River, that would bring it into perhaps the South Bossier area. So just an early first alert and heads up for you that this storm is coming in this direction. Again, not seeing a definitive signature that we have a tornado with this, but this storm is still visibly rotating and could produce another tornado at any time. Andrew.
Yeah,
So Jeff, you've been talking and we've been talking a lot about the cycles with the storm. I'm just wanted to recap basically the last 3 or so hours. We've been watching this signature for now almost 100 miles moving through eastern Texas into parts of the viewing area. And one thing you'll see here, you have to look a little bit closer, but you can watch actually how it cycles. It weakens a little bit here, then you watch the circulation get very strong. It weakens and then intensifies. We've been watching again this cycle over the past 2 to 3 hours or so. And again, the most intense part of this storm was probably, just taking a rough guess, was right around parts of Panola County, or in Panola County, just to the south and east of Carthage, where we've gotten some images of, once again, a large and dangerous tornado that was on the ground, almost looked like a stovepipe moving through parts of Panola County. But one thing is that we keep stressing here is that even though the circulation may have broadened right now, could very quickly tighten back up as it just crossed I-49. But we've been watching this circulation from outside of the viewing area. It's been the same storm, as more than likely, as our chief meteorologist Jeff Castle's been talking about, produced multiple tornadoes on the ground. It hasn't most likely been the same tornado on the ground for 100 miles, but the same supercell type of thunderstorm that's continued from outside the viewing area south of Tyler, about 40 or so miles south of Tyler, Texas, moved through parts of Panola County and even southern part. Okay, so actually, as I've been talking about that, we have activated our anchor, Doug Warner, who loves storm tracking, is actually headed in the storm tracker vehicle down towards Stonewall. See if we can pull up a live image of him as he heads south. So once again, driving through parts of the very heavy rainfall, torrential rainfall aspect of this storm as he continues to move off to the east-northeast at about 30 or so miles an hour. Because just to the south of downtown Shreveport, we've got torrential rainfall rates, probably seeing maybe a little bit of hail in there as well. Again, as we've been watching this very dangerous supercell thunderstorm continuing to move off to the east-northeast. Let's bring it back to me in the Weather Center real quick while I'm just going to kind of show you what our anchor Doug Warner has been driving through. Again, deep reds here. More than likely, I just want to see if we've got any hail potentially with this. Not seeing any hail, which is some good news there, but at the very least, some torrential rainfall across southern portions of Caddo Parish. But again, that fish hook that Jeff has been talking about in parts of northern DeSoto Parish that we're watching very closely as this storm has continued to cycle. The circulation gets very tight, more than likely a tornado drops, and then it broadens. So we've just been watching this cycle very closely. Here's that image again of our own Doug Warner, who is traveling south on I-49. So he's going to keep us updated, and we're going to keep heading towards Stonewall, and we're going to update you on whatever new information we get.
Microphone is up right now.
You're back. I think you're back, Jeff.
Okay. I do want to pass along. So we've been in contact with Panola County Sheriff's Office. Numerous trees down on roadways across the parish and structural damage being reported. I don't know what the nature of it is, but structural damage on County Road 184, which is in the Carthage area. Again, that is from this storm that Doug is headed towards right now in the northern part of DeSoto Parish. All right, let's go back to radar. I want to get an update on everything that we're tracking. We really have two main storms. We're going to reset the view here and show you the whole big picture. You can see storms are covering up a good part of the Arklatex, but we have two of most concern, one in northern parts of Caddo Parish. We have another one in southern parts of Caddo Parish and northern parts of DeSoto Parish. Both these storms are tornado warned. Outside of that, the only other warning, I believe, is a severe thunderstorm warning across the far northern part of the Arklatex. This does include you in Columbia County, Arkansas. Not indications that we're seeing any rotation out of this storm, but heavy rainfall and hail will be a possibility along with some gusty winds. Back toward the Texarkana area, finally seeing a little bit of a break out there. And perhaps we are done, well, I believe we are done with severe weather potential southeastern Oklahoma, McCurtain County, here along I-30 in northeast Texas, areas along and east of I-30 in southwest Arkansas. Still the threat for strong and severe thunderstorms continues for a little bit longer, and we're starting to see at least the threat for severe weather beginning to diminish back here into much of east Texas as well, although there are still some scattered showers and thunder showers, even a little bit more rain showing up back towards Jacksonville and Palestine, Texas, just outside of our coverage area. But really, I think our greatest risk for severe weather probably through through the remainder of this evening now is going to continue to be focused across northwest Louisiana and areas of southwest Arkansas, generally east of Interstate 49. Let's take a look at both of our, tornado warned storms. Grant, let's go into the northern one here, northern parts of Caddo Parish. I want to take a closer look at this. Tornado warning does continue. Most dangerous part of this storm continues to be near Gillum. What we're not seeing is a fairly tight or compact area of rotation. I think we have some strong wind that's likely blown through Gillum and the Belcher area, but nothing right now that says a tornado is imminent. And you can see we actually take it back here a little bit. And I think we did have some strong wind and perhaps a little circulation, but again, no reports of anything tornado-wise that has touched down with this particular storm. But tornado warning does continue. It does extend into Bossier Parish between areas between Benton and up toward Plain Dealing. I think Benton, you're going to be okay. The warning area should be narrowed a little bit here between near Gillum and Plain Dealing. So I think this northern part of this tornado warning is where we still have the threat. Southern parts, as you get closer to Benton, I don't think there's quite as much of a threat for a tornado with this particular storm, but that warning continues for a little bit longer as the storm moves into Bossier Parish. Grant, let's go to the south. There you see until 8:45. So another 5 minutes on that tornado warning. Based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm not sure if that will be continued based on there have been no reports of tornadoes, and the rotation that we're seeing right now does not look significant. Tornado warning does continue though here mostly into DeSoto Parish. The storm has kind of tracked a little bit more in the southern part of this warning, goes until 9 o'clock. So Grant, let's throw radar back up here and get the latest on the storm here in northern parts of DeSoto Parish. We still have that hook echo that looks like a fish hook here in extreme northern DeSoto Parish. Grant's going to circle it. You can see, again, this is not going to move through Shreveport. Very, very close call. But just off to the southeast now of Shreveport. Still seeing circulation showing up here, now moving into that skinny little end of Caddo Parish. If you know the way Caddo Parish is shaped, it kind of comes to a point here in the southeast corner. Well, this is where this storm and this circulation is moving right now. Again, the tornado warning continues basically up to the Bossier-Caddo Parish line right along the Red River. So no warning here into Bossier Parish. But again, circulation appears to still be showing up here south of Long Lake Drive and Francis Bickman Drive here in this extreme southeast corner of Caddo Parish. Grant, let's go back to the wind velocity here and see what we're seeing. We're still seeing circulation here, so I think this storm could still potentially produce a tornado, again, right here in the vicinity of the Caddo Parish and DeSoto Parish line. Andrew, what do you got something you want to add?
No, so I was just going to say once again, you know, some of what you were just talking about, I zoomed in on some of those roadways as well. But, you know, just worried about it continuing to cycle here. The good news, though, once again, really still watching some potential storms flaring up again. Seeing it bring it over to me in portions of eastern Texas. We just haven't seen in terms of any type of rotation right now, but you know, we've just been concerned about those atmospheric ingredients that have been conducive for severe weather. Just watching for a few, looks like more scattered thunderstorms near the Carthage area, but the good news right now, just not seeing anything on our velocity parameter that would indicate any rotation right now. Just the big, the two big stories continue to be those two tornado warned storms. Obviously, this system right here, they've been talking about, the National Weather Service, that the rotation has been weakening, but still seeing indications of a potential tornado on the ground as it moves towards Francis Bickman Drive. That's almost looks like a toe basically of Caddo Parish, and then eventually going to cross as it crosses the Red River into Bossier Parish. So still a dangerous situation near Southern Trace Parkway as this storm continues to move off to the east-northeast at about 30 or so miles an hour. Just zooming in real quick, some of these roadways here, Ellerby Road, Frierson Road, and this is extreme southeastern Caddo Parish, still watching again for a potential tornado on the ground. The rotation has been weakening, but still seeing indications of a potential tornado on the ground. Just pulling up the debris tracker. So slight drop in that correlation coefficient. Again, these colors that aren't blood red basically indicating not everything that the radar's picking up is uniform. So that's what we look for in terms of potential debris being thrown in the air by a tornado on the ground. So still seeing some indications of a tornado debris signature right now, but potentially could be weakening, but just concerned about those continuing cycles we've been watching, Jeff, over the past 2 to 3 hours.
We are continuing to keep an eye, again, on this storm in particular. This is the one that is most concerning. You can see what it looked like back towards Carthage when we had a confirmed tornado. This was definitely a tornado on the ground at this point. Grant, what do you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, I don't have IP, so I'm not sure if I can be heard on air, but I just wanted to point out the lightning that you can see back at 7:44. There was not a whole lot of lightning involved with this storm, but then as I fast forward to around 8 o'clock, you can see numerous strikes as it's moving through, and this is roughly when it was around its strongest. But as we fast forward to current time right now, there's barely any lightning strikes at all. So that's a good sign that it's actually weakening as it's moving its way to the east. Not necessarily saying that it's done, but it's a good sign that it's moving in the right direction of weakening.
Yeah, and we're heading deeper now into the evening hours. The tornado watch that we do have in place goes until 11. But the atmosphere is slowly starting to cool, so kind of losing some of the energy that has fed these storms. But this one is still, I think, the one of most concern. That northern storm in northern Caddo, Bossier Parish, by the way, tornado warning allowed to expire on it. So as we talked about, wasn't sure if they would extend that warning based on the way it looked on radar. So that warning has been allowed to expire. So as it stands right now, no warnings in effect for northern Caddo, Bossier Parish. We still have a tornado warning, though, in effect for this storm, which has been the one that has just been the most significant one. Again, producing multiple tornadoes, doing damage. That does continue until 9 o'clock. Goes right up to the Caddo and Bossier Parish line, which is basically the Red River here into southeastern parts of Caddo Parish. We do continue. There's still circulation here, though, still showing up. So I don't want to say this won't produce another tornado. In fact, it may be here on the latest scan. And Andrew, I don't know if you're noticing it too. It looks like maybe that circulation has increased once again with this storm.
There's a couple things I wanted to point out, Jeff, and I agree with you. It looks like the circulation, again, something that we've been talking about. I don't know if they can hear. Okay, talking about so much is that the circulation kind of cycles, and you can actually see that this is wind shear. This is our Doppler radar basically detecting rotation upwards through the thunderstorm. And sure.
Downstream warning for this storm. So a new tornado warning that it will include Bossier Parish. It will include parts of Bienville as well as Webster Parish. So a continued tornado warning on that particular storm.
Yeah, and you know, we've seen basically the two signatures of a potential tornado. The one that they just allowed to expire, but you really see the higher levels of wind shear as we are watching that system moving through parts of Panola County and then into Caddo and Bossier Parish. And you can see this defined line right now. And we're just still, as Jeff was talking about, could be seeing the circulation trying to ramp back up as it's crossing the Red River as we speak. But still seeing, again, a fairly robust signature, not quite as strong as what we saw earlier, but still seeing a signature, Jeff, that would indicate a potential tornado. Just want to go over to the debris signature. Not seeing anything too pronounced. That doesn't necessarily mean there isn't a tornado, but just still seeing, when you see this on our velocity parameter, that just once again mixes concern. Still could be dealing with the tornadoes. It's crossing Francis Bickham Drive and getting ready to cross the Red River into Bossier Parish right now. But just the big thing is, once again, we saw that rotation upwards through the atmosphere, just fairly robust over a decent period of time here. Just pulling up again, seeing that wind shear again, rotation within the thunderstorm. Still there and still heading off to the east-northeast, so still very much a dangerous situation for parts of Caddo and Bossier Parish.
Yes, and so we're going to continue to monitor this storm very closely. Again, the tornado warning has been extended now, and we'll show you that. If you can bring it back here to me at the green wall, and I'll have Grant pull up that latest warning and show you what it includes.
Well, since they're still on me, it includes parts of Bossier, Caddo Parish. It looks like parts of Webster Parish as well. Bienville Parish, just to the north of Ringgold. So yes, we're seeing Bossier, Webster Parish. Looks parts of Caddo Parish and Bienville Parish as well. Jeff, see if we can get it back to you.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Okay. So you can see the latest warning polygon here. It does not include Houghton. It is south of Houghton. It does include southern parts of Bossier Parish, though, south of Houghton. It does include Ringgold, Heflin, and I believe it maybe comes very close to Minden, just south of there. So it includes the southern portion of Bossier Parish. it includes southern Webster Parish, and it includes far northwest parts of Bienville parishes. Grant, let's go back over to the radar and just show you what we have going on here with this storm. And again, we do continue to watch this circulation. Right now it is right over the Red River, so crossing from parts of Caddo on into Bossier Parish, so you need to be seeking shelter again for the possibility that this may spin up another tornado. Grant, let's just kind of track this. I'm not sure quite why the warning goes all the way down to here. The most dangerous part of the storm is located, again, just off to the southeast of Shreveport, crossing the Red River. So we're going to track this out, and you can see where this is going to head. Again, it should say south of Houghton, running to Yellow Pine here in parts of Webster Parish. Yellow Pine, it'll be coming in by 9:22. And again, this storm, as Andrew showed you, has basically produced multiple tornadoes. So it may do that yet again. I will say the storm, at least on a radar presentation, doesn't look quite as textbook as we say a little bit earlier, but still, we've got the circulation showing up here. In fact, Grant, if we can go ahead and show you what the wind velocity looks like. And we're still seeing it here near Francis Bickman Drive, right here along the Red River, moving from Bossier, or from Caddo on into Bossier Parish. Again, Grant's drawn in what we're looking at here. Wind velocity, the radar can tell, is the wind blowing towards me, is the wind blowing away from me. It can determine that. And by looking at this and color coding it, we can determine that there is counterclockwise rotation showing up here, again, around Francis Bickman Drive and Louisiana Highway 1. This is a Uri Drive, becomes LA 1 as you move out of Shreveport. And again, that was the latest update, so we're still seeing this here right along the Red River heading into portions of South Bossier Parish. This is US 71, and it looks like Louisiana 527. So that circulation very close to now US 71 and LA 527 in this southern part of Bossier Parish. So we're still seeing it here, and still the possibility that this storm may produce another tornado, as it has produced multiple tornadoes within its life cycle. Grant, let's zoom back out just a little bit, and I want to track this small area off to the north and to the east. It's likely going to continue to be very near LA 527 through Bossier Parish. It's going to come in across where that meets Louisiana 157. And then you can see the white line here. This is the Webster Bossier Parish line, likely going to cross very close to here near LA 527 and Louisiana 163. So that part of Webster Parish. So if you live anywhere here from near US 71 and LA 527, all the way over into Webster Parish from LA 527 where it meets Louisiana 163, along this entire swath across extreme southeast Bossier Parish, need to be headed to your shelter for, again, the possibility of a tornado in this part of the Arklatex. Let's see here. So the tornado warning continues. Basically, we still have a couple warnings going on. We have the old warning, which expires at 9. Although that warning, the storm's no longer in Caddo Parish. But we have the additional warning, which I believe goes until 9:45 for the part of the storm that will be moving through south parts. Yeah, there we go with the latest. So that Caddo part of the warning, that's going to go away here shortly as the most dangerous part of the storm is out of Caddo Parish. But again, tornado warning now goes until 9:30 for southern parts of Bossier Parish. This is south of Houghton and moving into parts of Webster Parish. It does not include Minden, but it includes Dubberly down to Heflin and areas north of Ringgold, although where the circulation is right now probably will stay just north of you in Ringgold. I don't think that it'll quite make it into Bienville Parish unless the storm makes a little bit of a turn off to the right. But that's what we'll continue to keep an eye on for you. Still seeing it here. I'll tell you what, on the latest scan, the circulation has become less well defined. Again, the greens are blowing toward the radar, the reds are away. So again, here in the vicinity of US 71 and LA, Louisiana 527, That's where the circulation is. Not super well defined. On the last radar scan, it was actually a little bit stronger than it is here on this updated radar scan. So yeah, Grant's taking it back here with time. And as we move it forward here, this was fairly broad circulation. It actually got a little bit more significant right there as it crossed that southeastern corner into the southeast corner of Caddo Parish. And now as it's moved across the Red River, that circulation is beginning to decrease just a little bit. And I hope that that's a trend that we are going to continue to see. But we're going to remain with this. I don't think there's an imminent tornado threat, although Grant, let's just go ahead and flip on over to the debris tracker just to double check, make sure we're not seeing anything coincident with where the circulation is. I'm not. That's anything of any concern right now. So that is some good news. But we're going to continue to keep a watch on this for you, as it's likely going to track, again, right along Louisiana 527 here in the southeastern corner of Bossier Parish. Andrew.
One thing you were talking about potentially the circulation weakening a little bit. This is, again, our wind shear tracker. Basically kind of tracks rotation within the thunderstorm. And you saw this very clearly defined line of rotation and potentially a tornado forming and lifting back up, and seeing that cycle over and over again. One thing I've noticed, though, recently perhaps, is that wind shear has weakened significantly. Still seeing a little bit of a signature here, but not exactly as pronounced as what we had seen over the past few hours here. Still seeing some, Jeff, tell me if you disagree with me here, but looking a little bit more broad. Now that could change, because every single time we've talked about the circulation broadening, we've watched it tighten back up. So still a dangerous situation for parts of Bossier and eventually going to be Webster Parish shortly. But right now, again, just not seeing that pronounced kind of rotation moving upwards through the thunderstorm like we had been seeing over the past hour and a half to 2 hours.
And that's some good news also with this particular storm as well. And Grant, let's kind of zoom out a little bit as to what this storm looks like. Zoom back in a little bit. I just kind of want to focus on it, but want to get a look at the whole storm. This storm is looking much, much less organized than it did earlier. If you were to look at this does not look like the textbook variety of what we call a supercell thunderstorm like it did in Panola County, and even when it moved into parts of DeSoto Parish. Here it is. Storm is well defined, very intense here. And then as we go forward in time, number one, we showed you we're losing the rotation, but also the storm itself is kind of shrinking, getting stretched out, and actually almost to me, it looks like it's really beginning to dissipate. So the tornado warning does continue, but just based on the fact that the velocity has dropped, the velocity signature has dropped considerably. The storm is looking extremely unorganized. I kind of think that, with some luck, that maybe this storm may be done at this point, being a tornado producer. We're going to continue to watch it, though, for you until we are almost certain that this is not going to do anything else. But again, based on that the wind velocity signature has decreased markedly, still have a little bit here, not very much though, again in the vicinity of LA 511 and Louisiana 157. Still a little bit of circulation, but the parent storm itself appears to have significantly weakened and is losing its overall structure. So those two things combined means that the likelihood that this is going to produce another tornado, at least here in the short term, is extremely low. There you can see the latest scan update. Continue to move again right here along, I believe LA 157. LA 157 kind of takes a turn here back towards US 71, and then becomes Louisiana 154 breaking off of there. But again, this part of Bossier Parish, you can see where it is relative to Stonewall, where it is relative to downtown Shreveport. It's really, I think I can safely say that this storm may pretty much be done. And that's a good thing, because I think we're going to be hearing about lots of damage that this storm did produce as it moved through East Texas and perhaps even into parts of DeSoto Parish. Grant, let's just I want to reset the view, give folks a look at what we have going on all across the Arklatex right now. Still have basically now the most intense storms are just outside of our coverage area, back off to the northwest of El Dorado, Arkansas. You can pick that out, all these little dots, that's lightning, very intense lightning with this storm, but that one is moving out of the Arklatex. All the ones back here into southwest Arkansas got a little bit more activity that continues to flare up here in northeast Texas, but nothing that's organized, nothing that's particularly strong or severe, but is producing some heavy rain from Louisville down toward Bradley, Arkansas, across the state line, Spring Hill, seeing some heavier rainfall beginning to move on in down towards Benton. None of this activity appears to be severe. And we take you down into the southern part of the Arklatex. Still have some rain and storms north. Very north edge of Shreveport. A little bit of rain that's going to be coming through downtown as well. Back toward Wascom. Again, none of this activity appears to be particularly organized or certainly not producing severe weather. A little bit more rain around Carthage, back over toward Henderson, Texas. And we do have some strong storms here back towards Jacksonville, but I don't believe any warnings are out on those. And again, our far southern storm, which has been the most significant one, continues to fall apart. I don't think there's any other way to say it. Grant, let's go in one more view here, looking at the wind velocity and see what that continues to look like. And I think it's has pretty much dissipated. When we last saw it, it was here along LA 527. Not really seeing any indication of anything else. We'll continue to watch this just a little bit longer, but I have a feeling, based on this, the National Weather Service may cancel this warning, this tornado warning. It's the only warning that we have ongoing right now for the Arklatex, and again, this storm appears to have lost its ability to produce any additional tornadoes. But just to recap, though, Grant, let's show you the warning here. Officially, a tornado warning does continue for parts of Bossier Parish, for parts of Webster Parish, and the extreme northwest corner of Bienville Parish, officially till 9:30 unless it's canceled early. And we're waiting on word from the National Weather Service as that is going to happen with this particular storm. But this storm has really started to lose some of its structure and certainly has lost a great deal of intensity, and at least for the moment appears to have lost its ability to perhaps produce a tornado. Maybe we can, if the folks in control room can hear me, we did have the picture of what it did produce earlier. So if we can maybe pull that up, we'd like to show you that again one more time about what this storm did do. It did produce a tornado. It has produced some damage that we are aware of, particularly across parts of Panola County, back into East Texas. Okay, we don't have the picture right now. But let's go back over to Andrew for an update.
You know, Jeff, right now we're working on trying to get some of our live crews down into parts of DeSoto, right along the border between DeSoto and Caddo Parish, to kind of investigate what happened. But what we're going to be checking out, certainly, and I'm going to be checking it out during the morning, is this right along, I think, Farmers Market Road, 2517 in Panola County, as you were just talking about. Just a very strong signature that we watched on radar move right along Farmers Market, 2517, just to the south of Carthage, where we did get a picture of a stovepipe tornado moving on through. And this was during basically between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. And this is when the storm was at its most intense, most dangerous, and we've gotten reports of damage within parts of Panola County. So we're definitely going to be checking that out as we get into the morning hours on your Sunday, and just telling the story of what happened in parts of Panola County, because as you were talking about, Jeff, definitely going to see some reports and images of damage there. But also watch this storm as it moved through during the 8 o'clock hour, northern parts of DeSoto Parish, and where we still had that, once again, that signature, not quite as strong, but still saw that signature and debris signature of a tornado on the ground. But thankfully, as you were talking about, Jeff, it looks like recently the storm really has lost its definition. Still somewhat of a broad circulation, getting ready to cross into parts of Webster Parish, but not nearly as strong and a lot more broad compared to what we were watching just about. Okay, so we do now have the picture, if we can pull that up. Again, so we finally got permission to use this. This is, again, the stovepipe tornado that was moving through parts of Panola County. Just once again, a very, very dangerous tornado just to the south and east of Carthage. that we got in. So we're going to be checking that out, obviously, as we go through tonight and then again tomorrow, because certainly, Jeff, as you can see right there, we're definitely going to be finding some damage in Panola County.
Yeah, most definitely. When something like that showing up, the question is, what sort of structures did it do damage to? Were any homes in the path? Hopefully not. But we'll be finding out more information about that through the overnight hours and on into the day tomorrow. Again, as it stands right now, we just have the one tornado warning. That does include parts of Bossier as well as Webster and Bienville parishes, but it does look like the threat for a tornado has rapidly diminished with this particular thunderstorm. Again, the rest of the area, we've got scattered rain, scattered storms. None of this on radar right now. Appears to be particularly organized. It is producing some heavy downpours, is producing some thunder and some lightning. But I'm somewhat optimistic that we may be heading towards the end of this severe weather event. Tornado watch, Grant, I don't know if you can find that and pull that up, but we do have that tornado watch, which does continue for a little while longer here across the Arklatex. Weather Service hasn't dropped any of the areas here within the watch, but I will tell you the threat has pretty much diminished if you're in extreme northeast Texas. The threat has ended if you're around Texarkana, I believe. Primarily we're focused on northwest Louisiana for a little while longer for perhaps some more isolated severe weather. But again, our most significant storm, which appears to have produced multiple tornadoes, that threat appears to have ended, and an update here from the National Weather Service, they are going to cancel that tornado warning. They are in the process of canceling the tornado warning here for Bossier, Webster, and parts of, and there you see it, it's gone. So they have canceled that warning. So we have no warnings right now. We have nothing that I'm seeing on radar that is concerning to me that we need to continue to watch at this point. Showers and thunder showers, though, lined up here from southwest Arkansas back into east Texas. Just a little bit about the forecast. There is a cold front that is going to be sweeping through tonight, so it will pull all these rain and storms with it out of the Arklatex as we head through the overnight hours. Southern parts of the area, Sabine, Natchitoches Parish in particular, you were not part of the tornado watch, even though there's nothing going on for you right now. We'll continue to watch, but right now it doesn't appear that we have any additional severe weather imminent. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up our coverage. You can continue to track the storms on the KSLA First Alert Weather app. We'll, of course, have a full update on your forecast and a wrap-up of what we have seen from the storms today coming up in just a little bit less than an hour on KSLA News 12 at 10. For meteorologist Andrew Brightman, meteorologist Grant Roberts, and meteorologist Jessica Moore, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle. We'll go ahead and send you back to regular programming.